Welcome to A2thaShow. It is me, A2thaMo. Or just Mo. Or A2. Some people have called me A2. That's actually probably the coolest one, but it doesn't happen too often. And then people are like, are you now Alcoholics Anonymous? Or, they'd start attributing something else, which I did go to 12 meetings of Alcoholics Anonymous. Maybe I'll tell that later in the episode if I remember. We'll see if I do. Anyway, episode, what are we at? 39? That's what I think we are. Like 39. It's a cool number. I don't know, something about it. It's 3 13s, and that's special. I guess every number is special in its own way. If you really think about it, they're all math problems. A lot happening this week. The thing, I'll get more update, but my dog is right back here. So she is still with us, doing pretty good, actually, at the moment. And can't see her head. You can see her body kind of in that blobless thing. Also, let's do another tangent. The quality of the video, for like the last, let's say, 10 episodes or so, I did do one change on the video because I came across some fucking TikTok where some guy's like, Mr. Expert video mixer man, and was like, here's his mistakes everyone's making. And it was something about if you put your color on some video settings as limited or unlimited, and I always had it as unlimited. It kind of gave it all like that sheen of brightness, if you will. And apparently that's bad. And so you got to go limited, make sure blacker's blacker, and this is better. But I'll be honest, so the last few weeks I look, I'm like, this looks worse, right? Like I don't, also I've been compressing the fuck out of the files to upload them because they were really huge and they're taking up too much room. And so maybe that's why I look, who knows? There's all kinds of, y'all aren't here to look, this ain't what you're here to look at, look at my skin. It's pinker than this light tan shirt. This shirt would look so light on most people, but on me, it's still kind of light, but Pink Man, be my superhero name. Anyway, lots of stuff going on in the world. Probably World War III, but if I have to be honest, we brought up World War III multiple times since I've had a podcast over the years. There's been moments you're like, is World War III starting? I will say this one seems the most like it. But who knows? Who knows? I don't want to speak too soon, but it does feel like we have started World War III. People that some are out of the loop, I know some people listen to, like, I get my news from you, so I'll try to fucking explain it. But I'll be honest, I don't really know. I got an argument with the guy at work, not a big argument, but I was like, do I not know? So, I was like, I don't really know if I know enough to argue about this shit right now. To my understanding, what happened, from what my conspiracy theorist / news pages and, combination of has me convinced of, is Israel was going to attack Iran on their own and then basically told America, you can get on with us or not, and if y'all don't, then we'll do what we want. And then so America kind of jumped up and was like, well, we will lead this so we can be in charge. If this is gonna happen, we'd rather us do it, sort of idea. Now more conspiracy world would be like Bibi Netanyahu told Trump, like, I guess we'll release those videos if you don't do this. And then so he's like, all right, we're gonna do it. And so we did strike first. I believe I'm right. This is what I got an argument with a guy at work who was like, no, they hit us first. And I was like, what? And but I believe we as in like the coalition of America and Israel struck Iran first. And for over the years, they're always like, they're a week away from nuclear weapons. That's like always the threat of why we got to do it. But I lived through Iraq and then Afghanistan, so kind of tied, but not really. That was for other reasons, probably. This, like, they have weapons of mass destruction. It's like the same thing, right? So it's like they're gonna get this shit, man, if we don't do something. And they're always using that excuse. And anyway, we bombed some bunkers or some shits, and we killed their their president. They don't call their things like their supreme leader or whatever. And so once that happens, it's war. So like I see a lot of people being like, if they retaliate, you're like, well, I think we already started. I think once that happened, war started. Like, it doesn't matter if Congress didn't vote for it or if like we don't want it to happen. But as soon as we go and bomb another country and kill their leader, how is that just not war? I don't know. I just don't really understand what the fucking argument is out there. So anyway, Iran retaliates to my understanding, because I'm stupid, but I try. They fucking sent bombs at everybody. Like, they fucking sent bombs at Dubai and Greece and fucking all over the place. They were firing bombs at people as in retaliation. And then in that, they fired at an American base and somewhere over in the middle. We have fucking a bunch of military bases in other countries. And then they hit one of those, killed 4 American soldiers. And then this is where my coworkers like, once they kill those Americans, it's on. We got to annihilate them. And you're like, well, we did put a military base in another country, put our troops there. Like, we're kind of asking to get, but I don't know. There's just, and I get it. That is what they want. They want to get hit so then we can go to war. That's how the military industrial complex profits. It's just, it's crazy how quickly people are just like, yeah, fuck it, turn on the glass. Like when I'm like, I thought we all agree Iraq and Afghanistan was such a waste. But like, even by the end, I get it was because it was political and just because Joe Biden handled the pullout horribly of those places. But even Republicans that were like, yeah, it was a mistake. We shouldn't have done it. Let's get out of Middle Eastern forever wars. Trump even said it. Trump has said many times that when Obama was president, it's like Obama's going to try to get us in Iran. And he said the same thing with Biden, and he's the one that does it. So it just, everything comes back around in that way. But yeah, anyway, I've just always been, being anti-war is actually probably my number one political thing that has been consistent my whole life. I think the first thing that got me pretty into it was like, I kind of felt like Iraq and Afghanistan was some bullshit. And, learning about the military industrial complex and the way they just keep the wars going so that they can fund both sides of it. And then once they destroy it, they can also fund the people that go in and rebuild it. And, they're just making money all the way up. And also, of course, selling the weaponry going on. And so I don't know, I just think that it's evil and we shouldn't, I guess I also think, because a lot of people are like, well, that's capitalism for you. But I think it's a special type of capitalism that wants it to be like, oh, it's like war capitalism. Like there is another world where you're like, we make things so awesome that people spend their money for good things and we make money through capitalism that way. But it's like, no, we got to destroy motherfucker third world countries. That's the only way we can. I just feel like we could figure this out. Maybe not. Maybe the simulation is designed for someone to always be fucking over other people, but I kind of feel like people are taking advantage. There's also word going around that like commanding officers are telling people in the military that this is a Christian war and they're anointed by God to do these things. And then people are, these old servicemen are calling in and complaining. They have some sort of hotline, I guess, where they can like bitch about people. And apparently a lot of calls coming in about that. Like, this is like a Christian war. And then also Pete Hegseth, the secretary, used to be the Secretary of Defense. They renamed it the Secretary of War like 2 months ago. So I do kind of think they told us what was up. Like, I think they were pretty upfront with it in hindsight of like, well, as soon as they started calling the Department of War, not the Department of Defense, that probably knew they were on the offense, But anyway, that dude has like a tattoo right here on his chest that's some crusade symbol, and he's like vowed to kill all Muslims or some shit. I don't know. Like, so a lot of people, anyway, it's fucking crazy. It's kind of crazy what's going on. I will say it's kind of crazy. It's not a bigger news. Like, I mean, you're on the news, people are like, oh, war in Iran or whatever. But it's like, this has a potential to kind of be a huge deal. I don't know. Maybe it's just because we don't watch TV collectively and your algorithm's just like, if you ain't going to watch the news, it ain't going to show it to you. Maybe it just, something about it just doesn't feel as big of a deal when I'm like, I think this might be a huge fucking thing. Now, one thing I did see I thought was funny is North Korea threatened to get involved in the war because they said they have people in Iran. And if one North Korean gets touched, they will enter this war. And that's exactly what America would do, right? In like a similar scenario, that's what they're saying. 4 people died. We have to fucking annihilate them. So this has the potential, I think, for a world war. Like, we're fucking around down in Venezuela. I think China just said they're not exporting any diesel or gasoline out of the country. There's all kinds of weird things starting to happen. So, but maybe it's just in-game activities, economy wise. It's just interesting. I just kind of feel like it's a big deal. No one cares. Now, one more thing on the war, because I just hate on this Pete Hegseth guy, but I did want to make sure to get this in some way. I do think, because I've always said for years, so I got to be honest. For years, I've been like, I wish that people would just be honest about it. If you're going to go in for fucking resource wars, if you're just going to countries to fucking kill people and change a regime or steal their resources for corporations in America, just fucking say that. Quit pretending like it's for democracy or it's for whatever. Just be honest about it, and I would respect it a lot more. I kind of think that is the new play. I mean, he's giving these speeches. I've been catching parts of them in the morning before I go to work. And, it's like we are being decisive and we are annihilating the targets. And it does feel like they would rather just completely destroy all of Iran as quickly as possible and then get it wrapped up, which is different than Iraq and Afghanistan, where it was like a forever war that lasted 20 years as we had to rebuild it. Now, maybe their plan would still be to rebuild it, of course, and that would entail longer thing, a longer endeavor and a bunch of more American taxpayer money for no fucking reason. And but anyway, I do think there's something about at least they're just like, yeah, we're going to do that. We're the best military, or we have the top 3 air forces in the world on America, and we are just going to destroy these. There is something about that I'm like, well, at least they're just being fucking upfront about, they're not beating around the bush or whatever. So I want to give slap props there. But overall, not a big fan. Also, a lot of people are being like, you voted for this, you voted for Trump. And technically you did. If you voted for Trump, I voted third party because I'm a weirdo. But if you did vote for Trump, you did technically vote for this. But I would say in your defense, he literally campaigned on everything opposite of what he's done. So he has done nothing he said he would. But maybe that was to be expected because he's all part of the same party. It's kind of like the Trump and Clinton's hanging out with Epstein the whole time. It's all one big party. And they're fucking little kids at it. So speaking of some of the Clinton stuff, another news thing that happened this last week is both Clintons, Hillary and Bill, had, was it depositions is the right term? I don't know. In front of some, committees in Congress, and they had to answer questions, and it was all videotaped. So the Hillary Clinton one comes out the first day, and I didn't really catch a lot of it. I caught a few, sent over to Brad. He was like, oh, dude, I've been watching all this shit. But yeah, she gets pretty upset and like storms off, refuses to answer questions. Like, this is a hit piece or whatever. And maybe it is, but it doesn't make you look good. I don't know. Maybe they have like a different play of like, I'll just say this is crazy and then people will believe me. It just doesn't, I don't know. It reads like real defensive and stuff. So, they're asked about some ties. She claims she, doesn't really know him. But I think like Epstein was one of the founding members of the Clinton Global Initiative or some shit. So like, and they'll be like, well, we'll take money from anyone. It might be their thing, whatever. And then Bill Clinton's the next, I think, was slightly more, I mean, both entertaining, of course, in different ways. But I like some of the memes, sort of things that came out of his, like they're showing him the evidence of different things. And he's like smiling real big while reading about it, like reminiscing, it seems. And then he wants to answer certain questions when his lawyers, clearly don't want him to, things like that. Also, I mean, I think it's the very first question they asked if he's ever lied under oath, and he said no, which he was impeached for lying under oath. So I don't know. It's all very funny. Now, should they be wasting necessarily time with these two? Maybe they are like the fucking kingpins of this whole thing. But I think, again, there's fucking so many documentation of actual real crimes that have happened to children on it, through all these Epstein stuff that they're hidden or have not released. So I don't think anything's ever going to happen. I mean, 9/11 is my favorite conspiracy. The moon's up there as well. I like it, but 9/11 is number one. Always will be in my heart. They've done some, I can't remember the word before. It's like digital analysis of the email archives. So if you look at all of the emails they've released of Epstein and then they line them up like in order of dates, and then you put that on a timeline, there's a huge chunk missing from 2001 when 9/11 would have happened. So it is implying, or people are implying, I guess, looking at this, that Epstein probably knew about 9/11, or there's some weird information in his emails, and those are all withheld. And people are like, well, why would you think that? And it's like, well, because if you look at it, there's like no emails from that time frame, but there's emails from a lot before and a lot after. And so I think that's interesting. So I'm hoping more stuff comes out, tied to that. I mean, there's always been some weird shit, just with like the guy that owned the buildings that were hit. He wasn't to work he never missed a day of work. And that was the one day he didn't go into work because he had a doctor's appointment or something. And there's many stories like that of people that was like, they just didn't go to work that day, and it's like they were probably in the know. Also, there's words that certain people got text messages around New York not to go into work on 9/11. And so anyway, there's just a lot of interesting things, and I think Epstein's probably tied to some of that. I can't remember the other guy, but I just saw a video clip of Alex Jones talking about it, and who knows, Alex Jones is the man, but also he has such a blind spot for Trump that it's kind of ruined him, I think, in his later career here. Fingers crossed we get more 9/11 conspiracy documentaries or something in the future. Those are my favorite. Maybe not favorite. I like cult stuff probably a little better, but 9/11. I'm gonna stop on any TikTok video that's getting into it. Scroll through some comments. But back real quick to the Clinton Epstein deposition. I do want a movie made, Slumdog Millionaire style of both of theirs, of like the Hillary deposition and the Bill Clinton one. And so people don't know about Slumdog Millionaire. It's set in India, and the main character is on a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire show. And then every time they ask him a question, it like flashes back to a part of his life. And then you go to like this little mini vignette movie or whatever of this experience of how he ends up knowing the answer to that question. That's, I think, basically the premise of the movie. And it's very good movie. But I think they need to do a Slumdog Millionaire style movie for this. So it'd be like they're asking Hillary about some shit and she's like, I don't know. But it like cuts back and then, they're suiciding people or whatever. And then when they ask Bill, his is like cutting back to like parties and shit, having a good time. That's where you get your NC-17 rating from. And, I think that would be an excellent movie. So I know AI is making huge advancements. So maybe the first AI movie I direct will be the Clinton deposition in Slumdog Millionaire style. I'm giving away a fucking $1 million idea right there. $1 billion idea. Or they'll kill you for it, something like that. Oh man, I feel like I should play a song, but I gotta go with one more story that I feel like I wanted to fit here in the front, but gotta get a drink. I'm always so thirsty. And by the end of the last episode, my voice got really low down here because I was so fucking, like, my mouth was so dry. So y'all can follow the register. It drops over the episode because of my parchness. Oh, but the last thing I want to talk about was Jim Carrey. Last thing in this segment. And so anyway, this last week, Jim Carrey was at some fucking awards in Paris, France. I don't know, I never took French. I'm just trying to be cool. And anyway, so he's there, or someone's there, and it looks like Jim Carrey, but not really. And then within like the first 24 hours, everyone's like, Jim Carrey got plastic surgery. I can't believe this because he spoke so many times about how he would never do that. And look at all the fillers he has, and he's wearing contacts because his eyes are brown and now his eyes are green. So like that was like half the internet, or more than half probably. And then there's another group that was like, he was being cloned just like Jamie Foxx was, and many other celebrities. He was cloned. He died and they cloned him. And then, that's fun. I don't necessarily believe they've mastered cloning technology like that. Because here's the thing is, I think if they clone someone, they're a baby. I don't think you can clone. I wouldn't personally think they clone full adults. Now, I understand there's many sci-fi movies where it's just like this one thing, right? But to me, that doesn't make sense. And if they do, I mean, maybe they got fucking technology where they pull your brain out of one to the other, but y'all are saying it's a different person. Anyway, we'll get into a deeper dive later, maybe. So anyway, Jim Carrey rather cloned or had plastic surgery. And then, within a couple days, it came out, someone was like, oh, I'm this famous makeup artist. And that was me. I wore this Jim Carrey mask. And then you're like, oh, shit, that's probably, I mean, like, I fully believe it. A lot of people were like, no, that's fake. They're just saying that now after the fact because they got caught. I personally believe it was the makeup artist wearing the Jim Carrey mask. My wife used to love this show called Face Off that was on the Sci-Fi Channel. We watched every episode of it together. And yeah, they totally make that. It's not that crazy. There's been many CIA masks or different intelligence agency masks that they've showed off on like Dateline and different things. There was one for like the 80s or something where like someone wore it in the room with Reagan and then like tricked him. So like they've had pretty good prosthetic abilities for a long time now with the mask. So I don't think that's that surprising. But I do think it makes me want to re-bring up the whole like Joe Biden was dead, right? And like the Joe Biden that was president wasn't actually the real Joe. It was not the same guy who was vice president. I know this is crazy conspiracy land. And when it was happening, it was like, yeah, I kind of think so. And it was like kind of funny. But I mean, I think at some time we all are going to have to go back and look and be like, yeah, that was just a different guy. And I don't care politically at all about one another. Just like there was that one time he was like 6'2", randomly, and he was there at talk before. And I think this is my own argument against myself. I just say this all the time back when he was president or whoever it was president. If they were going to fake it, why not fake it better? Why not put someone that like spoke better and wasn't fucking belligerent or whatever? I guess the idea here would be like, well, because they chose a random old man that looked like him and then they done the best they could with that, But there's like, we were told the whole time we were hunting Osama bin Laden that he had like 12 lookalikes look just like him and we never knew. And we get told about all kinds of world leaders. But then we think like, oh yeah, not America. Now I would say with Trump, I think it would be hard to do a fake Trump. I know there's some that are for comedic reasons that are always good, but I think you'd be like, I don't know if that's it. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe with the orange makeup, it'll be easier too. I don't know. But I think we all should just be honest with ourselves that the Democrats really wanted to beat Trump. Joe Biden was their only way. Word is he died in 2019. That's like the conspiracy of it all. And then they just had to like find a replacement. He went into South Carolina and won that primary, I believe. I'm remembering that correctly. And then all of a sudden, everyone was just on board. And then they made Bernie Sanders drop out, give all of his money over the other Democrats, because that's what Bernie Sanders is there for. He's there to take all the super liberal people's money and donations and hand it over to whoever they pick later on. Anyway, it was fun. Good memories. I miss whenever the fucking political talk was like, hey, is our president faking a mask? And then not like, hey, we're going to World War III, So anyway, you always miss what you used to have, I think nostalgia runs deep around here. All right, let's play a song. First song we're going with of this episode is from the homie Sir Nasty. Now, he has a new album coming out in just a couple days that is not this album. I'm going to run out this one, I believe, and then I'll switch over to the new one. I'll run at least the ones that I produce, because I'm selfish like that. And, we'll always have them around. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, I'm saying March 13th, another Friday the 13th, he has another album coming out as well. But right now we're still on Life of a Legend. I believe the next one, Soko said it was something else, but I believe it's actually Life of a Legend 2, if I saw a tweet correctly. But who knows? I could be wrong. Anyway, the song we're going with here is called In My World. Let's give it a listen.
Big 36 shit. What up, Schneid? I got 25 lighters on the dresser, yes sir. If I wanna fuck, it ain't no pressure. I send the location, she pull up in a Tesla. I roll up some good shit, then I undress her. We gon' make a movie, she call me Nutty Professor. I know that she gon' type back every time I text her, yes sir. Hey. Bitch work from home, she be on the web. Her OnlyFans booming, she a hood celeb. She got body piercings and tats everywhere. I keep weed in my house and gas everywhere. Yeah, certified chef, I don't need a cook. She be laying on my sofa while she read a book. Yeah, fucking with a phone, she on Amazon. She said I just ordered you some new LeBrons. Same time pouring Lobos in my cup, king shit. And we was so full, we didn't even know my world. Riding with that thing, getting brain, they don't do it like that. Welcome to my world. Getting money, smoking weed with my G's in the green and the black. Welcome to my world. Cocaine flow, and you know I got that lyrical crack. Welcome to my world. I tried to leave the streets, but the streets keep on calling me back. Yeah, welcome to my world. I'm used to them gunshots and hearing sirens. Don't worry about what's in my cup when I be up in Byron. My driver outside, I get wasted here. They be in the dressing room like girl Jason here. Rubbing on they self, they some masturbators. Nasty. And they know I'm a lion, I eat alligators. I don't argue with you haters, I just get the loading. I'm a gangster bitch, I put that on my uncle rolling. If I take a nigga chick, that mean the bitch stolen. I kick it with a bitch and get the ball rolling. I'm AK holding when I take action. And I'm roasting everybody like I'm Nate Jackson. I love head, but I hate accent. If you gon' give it to me, give it to me. I'm from the jungle, bitch. Don't act like this ain't the zoo. If you ain't fucking with my music, bitch, this ain't for you. Yeah. Ride with that thing, getting brain, they don't do it like that. Welcome to my world. Getting money, smoking weed with my G's in the green and the black. Welcome to my world. Cocaine flow, and you know I got that lyrical crack. Welcome to my world. I tried to leave the streets, but the streets keep on calling me back. Yeah, welcome to my world. Riding with that thing, getting brain, they don't do it like that. Welcome to my world. Getting money, smoking weed with my G's in the green and the black. Welcome to my world. Cocaine flow, and you know I got that lyrical crack. Welcome to my world. I tried to leave the streets, but the streets keep on calling me back.
Sir Nasty with In My World. Very cool, very chill. He rode the beat very well, you know. I mentioned this thing last week before. A lot of these beats of mine he used on the Life of a Legend album are ones I sent him a long time ago that he, you know, just had a while. And I don't think the beats are that good because I'm like, oh, shit, they're so old, you know, and I was so amateurish in certain ways. Still am. But I think he did was so well with it. Like, you know, it's hard to even, I still notice it's an old shitty beat of mine, but, you know, he made chicken salad, if you will. All right. Anyway, go listen to Sir Nasty. By the way, there is an album on streaming sites, but there is an extended album with even more songs on Bandcamp. So check those out if you want to. And all right, so a lot of other stuff going on. I don't know if I'll be able to get to everything here, but I guess normally in the middle, I like to let me go ahead and get through sports stuff. You know, it's I know people don't care, but NBA's fun. I like the NBA. I wear an Oklahoma City Thunder hat every week on this podcast. Just so someday if it ever blows up, they'll be like, "Would you like front row tickets?" And I'm like, "Yes, finally." Will it happen? Probably not, but we're playing the long game here. And anyway, I watch all the Thunder games. It's very fun. I enjoy it. There was a game against the Nuggets the other night that was it's actually been a while ago now, but it was a very exciting one. Another one coming up around the time this episode comes out, I believe. And the Nuggets have a player that I used to like, but now I have to hate him, Nikola Jokic. He's a Serbian, he's not fat, but, you know, for an NBA player, he's fat. And so that's why I liked him, you know, fellow fat guy. And he plays real slow, but he's like amazingly good. And so, yeah, anyway, he's very good. And he like almost got in a fight with some Thunder players, and then that became like a big news story and stuff. And I just have to say, I do think there is still like racism that happen in the NBA. Like white players, I do think get a weird benefit of the doubt, or like if a black player did what, like, so try to run it back, but anyway, and I'm sure it's happened some other way, but Lou Dort, who a lot of people say is a dirty player for the Thunder, and he's a little bit of a dirty player, but as far as like actually him being fined or kicked out of games or technical fouls, whatever, it's like not many compared to like what the other dirty players in NBA is, but he does definitely, like, you know, he grabs people and he's a little pest, if you will, big pest. He's like a big swole ass motherfucker. So anyway, he goes out of his way and like hip checks, you know, like throws his ass out or leg out at Jokic to try to trip him as he's running down the court. And then Jokic gets all mad, runs up on him and looks, you know, crazy eyes and got a mouth guard in. So it makes him look even crazier, I think. And then Jalen Williams runs down there. Now, Jalen Williams, I think, has to be part native because he reminds me of Powwow. He just has a look, if you will. And he's just such like a happy guy and he's smiling all the time, Powwow, similar way. But in this moment, he's all like trying to be all tough and stuff. And I don't think it necessarily fits his personality, but Powwow, same way. He gets these moments. So like, it just reminded me of that for some reason. And so anyway, Jay Will like stands up for, you know, collars up Jokic, but Jokic is like bigger than him. So he's kind of looking at him all crazy eyed. And then people online just love Jokic for it. Like, yeah, Jokic went and got him or whatever. I would argue if a black player, because it's happened before, acted so violent running up on another player, it would be treated as like there's no place for that on the NBA, you know, whatever. But whenever this dude done it, And also just NBA media types just love Jokic anyway. I don't know if it's his race, but he just happens to be white. And it's just like they just think, oh, it's so cool they did it, and the Thunder are the worst for being dirty players, whatever. And then in the same breath, like all these people on the NBA podcast or TV or whatever, all they talk about is like, oh, back when the NBA was tougher in the 80s and 90s when they done fucking cheap shot shit like this. And then when someone does a cheap shot shit, they're like, the game has no place for this. And so it's just to prove that everyone just bitches no matter what. You can't win actually in this scenario. But I enjoy it. I like cheering for the team that everyone hates. Like, so, the Thunder finally won a championship last year, and now people are just getting, they get so mad about shit. Now, SGA, the star player of the team, I don't think he foul hunts in the way, like a lot of NBA stars, they cry to the refs about the fouls, and SGA doesn't do that as much. He does it a little every now and then, or a star or two, but not as much as a lot of other guys. But he does do like weird body movements as he gets hit to like try to oversell the foul. And people get really mad at this. And you're like, yeah, it looks kind of goofy. I don't love it. I'm not even defending that. But people just cry so much of like, but anyway, I like cheering for the team other people don't like. It's a good time in my basketball fandom. So just wanted to say it. Also, the white guys get special. The good white guy, bad white players maybe get extra hard, get made fun of for stuff. But the good white players, I think, get special treatments. That's my case. I don't know. The Thunder used to have this white guy that everyone in the fandom love, and he's fucking the most mediocre, shitty kind of player back in the day. And then they retired his number. His name's Nick Collison, and when that happened, everyone's like, "Oh, he's the best." I'm like, he's the worst player to ever get their number retired. Like, are you fucking serious? But it's just because he was white. That is all there is to it. He was white and was one of the first players that played for the franchise. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy to me. All right. Anyway, let's move on to video games. Something that brings me joy in my life. Thunder brings me passion. So anyway, for the third week in a row, and eventually I'll be done with this game. I have another game coming out in a week or two that I will have to pry myself off of Mewgenics to play, but I'm not there yet, so I'm trying to get in all the time I can. Honestly, my hour count for this game is fucking stupid. I can't believe how many hours I put into this game, and I'm not even that far, really. I've made it. I'm on Act 3, for whatever that means. I've only done a few runs in Act 3 because I'm getting my ass beat, so I was like, well, let me go back and really kick ass in Act 2 and clear all the things up. I have been doing better the last couple of days of the game as far as like clearing this up. It is kind of random number generator based. Like, you have to get lucky in some ways. I mean, there are things you can do to set yourself up to have better runs with your cats, but in some way, it's like you got to get lucky on certain enemies and certain power ups you get offered at certain times, and it's just anyway. But I finally beat the giant Godzilla cat that attacks your house. It took me a couple of tries. It sets everything on fire. But anyway, the game's great. People are catching up, missed some episodes. There's a game called Mewgenics where you have cats and you do it's a roguelike tactical turn-based RPG with cats sort of game. And in between rounds, the cats you have that have either survived or you haven't sent off to fight yet. They live in this house and then they breed, and some of them fight, and just all kinds of shit happens. And then I'm at the point where at the moment I have 3 rooms in my house. I know you can get like 5 or 6, or I don't know what the total is. But I have 3 separate rooms. One is where all the breeding happens. One's for all the people ready to go to war. And then the attic is for the retired soldiers that have come home to rest and heal, and if they want to breed, they can, but they don't have all this. You put different items in the room and it like raises different stats. And then you have to I have way too many cats. So you're really supposed to donate cats to different people to give you different power-ups. And I should do that more. And then your cats get mutations, and then you can pass those down through the breeding, and then they get different stats. And really, that's probably the best part of the game, but it's a lot shorter. And honestly, no, it's not. The battling is great. The whole game's great. I mean, it's going to be hard this not to be my game of the year. And I'm saying, even if Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out this year and is great, Mewgenics still might be my game of the year. It's hard to imagine another game that I'll be as addicted to as I am this game, whatever that counts for. It looks stupid. I've gotten over the graphics not being the best. I mean, the graphics aren't bad, just the cats look dumb, but you start to understand it once you have like hundreds of cats you've gone through. You're like, well, you got to make them look different. So the only way you can do that is by having all these goofy things. I currently have a cat that its ears are 2 other cats, and that's a mutation. And so that's fun. So anyway, and I have one that has like antennas, and then it's immune to electricity because of its antennas. So yeah, anyway, the game's great. You get started, like, basically I mentioned the Godzilla cat that kept killing me. It lights everything on fire. So I had 2 different cats that had fire immunity, and I was like, ooh, I gotta save them for the next time this thing comes. And then luckily they were alive, and then they could just be on fire. It didn't even matter. So eventually they won it for me. So yeah, the game's great. If you're into roguelikes or turn-based strategy games, or if you just want to do something new, yeah, it's a cheap game. I don't even remember how much it costs, to be honest, right now, maybe like $20 or something, and maybe 30. Sorry, remember, whatever. I'd pay $1 million. No, I would. But it's great. It's a great game. Also, last week I learned how to fast forward the videos while I talk about it, so y'all can see a whole round. And I'll try to do that again this time. We'll see what happens. The next game that I do have coming out, not me, but that is coming out that I've already purchased, so I have to play it. It's called Crimson Desert, and it's supposed to be out, I think, towards the end of March here. So that'll be my next obsession. Then in April, I have another game, and then there's just more games and more games. I saw Resident Evil came out, and people are saying it's like super good, one of the all-time great games. Never played a Resident Evil game myself. I have almost zero interest. Now, I mean, I would say like if it was like from a scale of 0 to 100, maybe a 1 would be my interest. Like, I just have no interest in a Resident Evil game. My cousin Rusty, I remember him playing Resident Evil 1 on PS1, and I was like, okay. I mean, I just didn't. I don't know. It was my thing, but I understand they're huge. They're a big deal in the world. So as a video game lover, I feel like at least gotta say they do exist. Another random video game thought I had here is, do video games make you depressed? Now, I don't know if that's factual or not. I'm using my wife as a case study. I've gotten her into video games, or I didn't. Hogwarts Legacy got her into playing that video game, and then I was like, well, play all these other ones. And so she is a gamer these days. For a while, like, she's not a real gamer, but she's more of a gamer than a lot of people, so maybe she's not as good at them as me, but, she puts in the work and the time into it. But she's used to never get depressed. Now, this could just be totally unrelated to the video games, but now there's times where she'll be like, I'm a little depressed. And I'm like, oh my God, did I just inflict her with depression because of the video game? Are these connected? And she gets like really offended when she does bad at a video game. Like, I wasted all this time and I couldn't even beat this thing, and I'd have help. And, she gets like real upset by it. And I'm like, oh man, is this leading to, because it is just addiction. It's gambling in some way. Even it's not gambling, because gambling is like somewhat a chance, but it is gambling in like blackjack or like some, there's certain gambling that there is skill involved. Now, you're not necessarily winning the money. You're not getting the dopamine for that. But like in a video game, it's like, here's a problem. Can you figure it out? Almost every game is that at some level, not all, of course, but most. And you being able to figure that out, like, releases some sort of dopamine. It's like, yes, you're smart. Good job, or whatever, whatever's happening up in your brain. But then the reason it happens is because all the times you failed, you have to fail at it and not do good, or, trial and error some stuff. Maybe you get to one boss and it takes you 15 times to beat it, and you're like, oh, that sucks. And then when you beat it, you're like, hell yeah, but that's maybe not even the biggest dopamine. The biggest one is like maybe 2 bosses from now, you do beat it the first time, and you're like, oh my God, because it was so hard on it different. There's just a lot of things play in to like the sense of joy through video games to a comp, but also the games I grew up with, you would just repeat shit over and over. Like, my wife's a little bit more like a modern gamer, like these kid gamers today, where they just die and then you revive in the same spot, and then you just go on about your business or whatever. Whereas in, like, I grew up, and a lot of people maybe listen to this, grew up in an era like you'd play a game, and once you ran out of lives, you had to like restart the world or the level, or they're a save point. I was a big JRPG fan, and where was the save at? Normally before a boss, they'd give you a save point, but not always. And, you had to replay over or watch a whole fucking cutscene again that you couldn't skip. And then you would get like, by the end, you're like mocking the cut. You're like, like you're just so mad having to hear these stupid fuckers talk again. And then I see my wife will play a game and she'll be like something, and then she'll just skip it. I'm like, oh, you're not getting the real experience. But I saw this thing where like, the Fortnite sort of generation, like they just died and they just started a new game. And they may never win, or whatever. But just because that quick turnaround, it's a different sort of experience than the loading up the level, restarting and just replaying the same shit over and over until you can finally crack the code. I don't know. Also just, this kind of ties to, and again, nostalgia heavy episode, I guess. Just this idea of like, there are certain things you thought would always just be so popular. And then you just look back, you're like, oh my God, we might have been, it might just be a blip in history. Like kind of the automobile, right? I mean, automobiles will always exist, but like we live in this time where like at 16, you got your license and you drove your own car, wherever you wanted to on the roads and stuff. There might come a day where like people don't own automobiles. Just like there came a time where people didn't have horses, and there was a time where people always have horses. Like there just might become a time when people don't drive gas cars. You're like, well, you don't go to a gas station, and then you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I lived in this one very small moment comparatively to other stuff. And video games, at least the video games I grew up with, maybe those types don't exist anymore. A guy I work with, we're talking about how like just a lot of games are just boring these days, especially. I still love single player games. I'm not a big multiplayer game fan, but I don't really care about the story of video games that much anymore. Or like a big cutscene. I used to love a cutscene. I was like, fuck, this was the reward, was the cutscene. And now it's like a 10-minute cutscene. I'll fucking go to sleep, or like I want to skip it, but I'm like, I feel bad because I'm like, well, then that's half the game or whatever. And so there's something about the way games are made now, like they're too produced, maybe. At least like Sony single player games, like, I mean, I love them, but also I'm like, they're a lot, sometimes. So, and maybe that's just getting old, and so you miss the way things were in some way. That's why I still think sports games can hit the spot at certain times because it's so simple. It's like, here's the game, play the game. They're not like, and sometimes they do go, here's a 30-minute cutscene, and you're like, how about Spike Lee doesn't fucking direct a 2K again? Everyone else loved it. I hated it. It's my least favorite one, I think. The best one had Michael B. Jordan, of course. I wish I remember what year it was and I would shout it out, but it was the easiest one too, though, because Michael B. Jordan was on your team and you could do this double teammate power up shit and just kick ass. Or anyway, video games make you depressed. Who knows? Also, speaking of depression, last week when I was going through all the shit I talked about last week with my water heater, then my dog sickness, and everything just seemed to be crashing all around me. Didn't feel very depressed, and I do think depression is a thing that, for me, this is a favorite for me, where it really hits more when things are good, and you have time to like reflect. You're like, oh shit, I still hate this, I still hate myself, and things are pretty good. When I'm having to worry about things, I'm not thinking about it, to be honest, because I'm so worried about other stuff. So maybe I'm gonna start looking at depression as a blessing. Where your life has to be up to a certain goodness to start feeling it for me. Maybe other people, y'all can take that on, make you feel worse about it when you are depressed. All right. Let's play a song. That's what we're doing next. And then when we get back, I'll talk about some other random shit. All right, this next song we're going with is from the homie. It's your boy H2. Out of Milan. I can't remember. I'm trying to remember what the fucking name of the city was. I know it's not that, but I'm going to leave it. But it's spelled something like that. I just don't remember how it's pronounced. This song we're going with here is off of his album FM 12 Levels, I think. I can't see it in front of me, but I believe something like that. You'll see the artwork when we play the song here. The name of the song is, I'm going to say it's Innocent, but it is also in 1 cent. So like an inn, like a hotel, 1 cent. So that's a cheap hotel or a cheap hoe, if you will. See, let's see if we connect the dots here before the song. So anyway, it's your boy H2, Innocent or N1 Cent. Check it out.
I mean, can you blame me for being angry? See, I'm the same me, just not the same me. These rappers switching lanes, there's too much traffic in the game, and half of them slow poking. No, it can't be. Make me fill a whole page of nothing but some road rage. You're coming off as soft as rent, bitch. I own this whole stage. Stepping off in this cage, you'll leave without a rib cage. Don't like it, blow me, cause I'm all forehead like Nick Cage. And I don't always give the name of what I'm aiming, but they ain't my shots. If you thought the shit just grazed, I do donuts round rappers till they eyes glazed. It's my way of get scraped off the highway. Hey. Soon as the beat hit, I'm just so into it. It's that one-on-one shit, so intimate, and every word out my mouth is so intricate. Guilty on every account, never innocent. Soon as the beat hit, I'm just so into it. It's that one-on-one shit, so intimate, and every word out my mouth is so intricate. Guilty on every account, never innocent. I don't object, I got a name I can't protect. Killing skin these bitches, I'm right here in the flesh. Too many holes in your story, your flow is made of mesh, and they gon' catch you fags and fishnets after I make a mess. I try to take a breath, but even then it's all stress. I dress myself with a cross while y'all cross-dress. Judges love me, but only God can judge me. So if y'all don't love me, homie, I could give a fuck less. You'll never get a grip, you bitches living nutless. And a pump to the stomach's only way I'd be gutless. So take your ass to the back, go try and front this. You want success? Well, come and suck this. Soon as the beat hit, I'm just so into it. It's that one-on-one shit, so intimate, and every word out my mouth is so intricate. Guilty on every account, never innocent. Soon as the beat hit, I'm just so into it. It's that one-on-one shit, so intimate, and every word out my mouth is so intricate. Guilty on every account, never innocent. I'm not the type to razzle and dazzle like Ric Flair. Work from the ground up to tackle your ass in mid-air. Fuck security, it just ain't safe for you. Throw money in they face, we call it pay-per-view. Bitch, I'm hater-proof, motherfuck the greenbacks. My team lead the league in sacks, come and get your spleen smashed. I got a drive that'll leave your piece of shit crashed. Rub me the wrong way and bet I leave a sick rash. My life is on disc and the shit'll never get scratched. My voice cracks and every lyric gets hatched. The verdict's back, we both standing right there. Your penalty is death, and after that I get the chair. Yeah.
A2thaMo makes beats.
It's your boy H2 with Innocent. Produced by me. Another old beat of mine where I'm like, it's not that good, but you know what? It worked. I think the hook, because I believe H2, that was like an older song, vocals put over one of my beats. I think the hook fit real well, or better, than the verses necessarily, because the verse is a little more higher energy than the beat was. But I think it worked out. So y'all go check out H2. He also announced he had a new album coming out, Puzzle Man or something. I don't remember what the name of it was. It was a guy who made of puzzles pieces, not puzzle boxes. That'd be its own thing. That's a different album. So yeah, go follow your boy H2 on your favorite streaming site. Give him a listen. He has a website as well, flatlinermusic.net. I'm gonna say net, but maybe it's in org. Who knows? Got my dog over here. She's groaning. I don't think she's enjoying being on the podcast. My update on her, I guess we'll get that way since it's all good news. or at the moment, it's good news. Now, Mitch last time, she has cancer all up in her throat area, and she wasn't eating any food. She basically got to where she was eating once every 3 days, and not real food, but like a little table scraps, and not really that much. And I would every day make her food, cook her up whatever, and try to feed it to her, and she just wouldn't eat it. And we finally got back into the vet after we got the diagnosis, because they just told us all that shit through an email or whatever. And when I get back in there, my mom had told me before I went, like, hey, I have a coworker that was like, they gave their dog prednisone, which is a steroid, and that made them eat. And so maybe you could at least do that so she enjoy the end of her life. So that's the very first thing I brought up. And they did that. I don't know if they would have brought it up if I didn't. Maybe they would have. Maybe they would have been like, no, that's totally a thing to do. But I was basically like, hey, the dog won't eat. But so I took the dog on a Tuesday, I believe. It was a Tuesday. That's when they got us in. And on that Monday before, she'd eaten a little bit on Sunday. That was like her once every 3 days or whatever. And she loves spaghetti meat. So like if I make spaghetti with the meat and the sauce combined, she's eating the shit out of that. So we did that. She'll eat bratwurst and she'll eat ham steak. Those are 3 things so far. Oh, and chicken thigh. If I make chicken quarters, or a quarter, I guess. So that's a leg or a thigh. She will eat it. And so even when she wasn't feeling great, but I'd make them and she wouldn't eat all of it. And if I we'll make it again the second day, she was still doing like once every 3 days. She wasn't really eating. So anyway, the Monday before, one of her off days eating, I was like, I don't give a shit. I'm going to put this chicken in her mouth and I'm going to feed it. I'm going to force her to eat it because I was getting stupid. And I was like, I don't want this dog to die on me yet. And so I was like shoving chicken in her throat, and then she would swallow it. And then after me doing it a few times, she'd be like, oh, I guess I can't eat. And then she'd eat a couple on her own, and then she would stop, and then I'd fucking throw it. So it was ridiculous, but that's what I was doing. And then the next day, after I got her to eat a bunch of chicken, she got kind of like some energy, right? She was like walking around. She went outside and chased a squirrel. We're like, oh my God, look at this dog getting all of her energy back. And so when we got into the vet on Tuesday, I took the dog and told the vet, I was like, hey, she is in a great mood last night and she chased a squirrel, got her to eat. So I just think I'm gonna get her to eat. She'll just enjoy her life more. I don't know how much longer we got, but I'd much rather enjoy it than her like just sitting around sleeping, waiting to die. And he agreed. Again, maybe he would have said all this without me saying any of that. So he gave me some nausea medicine and some steroids that we've been giving her for the last few days. And then her tail's been wagging. She ate. I gave her, she got 10 Chick-fil-A chicken nuggets for dinner tonight. So she's living the good life. And she ate the shit out of those. She's still not eating normal dog food. But they said at this point of life, let her eat whatever. There's no dietary restrictions. And it's probably gonna be expensive me just cooking her meat, but that's what's gonna happen. But anyway, she's eating and she's kind of back to her normal self. Now, a little side effect that's negative is as soon as she started eating again, she's back to like barely being able to breathe. So I'm sure there's only so much room in that throat, and if there's food in there, it's harder for air. I don't know, but she's breathing deep. Now, it could just be allergies because her eyes are also watery at the moment, and so maybe it's just springtime sort of thing. But you're like, God damn, do we have to choose between breathing and eating? Because this is going to be a motherfucker. But the vet acted like we wouldn't even see results from the medicine for 4 or 5 days. And we saw it in 2 days. So we're on day 3 now. So anyway, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm hopeful. Me and the wife, for a while we thought we'd be lucky to get to spring break with how I was looking. She wasn't eating. And then before we had to like get her put down or something like that. Maybe getting put down sounds wrong, but go get a procedure. We don't want her to suffer and starve to death. That seems sad. But now I'm like, hey, she might make it to summer or more if the medicine works. The guy said they'll give us the medicine forever if it keeps her feeling good. So anyway, good news on the dog. We got good news here on that one. I tried to take her we took her to the park last weekend. It was like her last part, before I went to the vet, in case we never got to go again. And she was like, fuck this, I'm old. I don't even be fucking exercising. And so we were like, oh, that might have been the actual last one. But then when she was feeling pretty good yesterday, I was like, what if we go walk for like 50 yards and turn around? And she was so pissed at me. So maybe maybe we don't do exercise. Might be past exercise stage of life. But then something about that seems wrong. Seems like you gotta work out those muscles if you're a dog, but I don't know. I'm just guessing. All right, what else has happened? I I had honestly a lot of random shit written down that I could have talked about. I saw there's a lot of stuff happening in the burger world. McDonald's CEO put out some video of him eating a McDonald's burger, but he like barely took a bite of it. And honestly, it reminds me of those moments where like you feel sick to your stomach, like you might have like diarrhea or whatever, but you're still like at a restaurant, maybe you're trying to eat and you look down, you take like the smallest fucking bite because you're just like, God, I feel so bad. Like that's the type of bite this McDonald's CEO guy took of this burger. So then everyone online was roasting like, this motherfucker don't eat burgers or eat this stuff. And I think, to be honest, he does. I think he admitted like he eats fish and shit like that. But anyway, he got roasted enough that I think he's resigned. I don't know if that's true, but I saw a post saying he resigned, but it could have been a joke. But it led to like Burger King and Wendy's CEO releasing videos of them eating their burgers, taking huge ass bites. And, it's so funny what becomes like a thing in today's world. I mean, it was basically what happened when we were younger. So they used to have like real commercials where like McDonald's and Burger King would shit on each other. And you'd be like, oh shit, did you see that new Burger King commercial shit on McDonald's? And then people would like legitimately argue over the fries. And be like, hell no, I ain't going to Burger King. McDonald's fries are so good. It's like they cared that much. Where now it's like, I don't give a fuck. As long as it's edible and it isn't exact crazy, ridiculous, expensive, which is hard to do because it's also expensive these days. But yeah, I do think McDonald's fries are better, just to be clear here. I don't think they're so much better that I throw a fit if I went to another place. If anything, I think where the argument to be made is that the nuggets at McDonald's are so much better than the nuggets at a Burger King sort of establishment. But Burger King's got the original chicken sandwich, so I'll eat that motherfucking oblong sandwich till they take it off the menu. And I don't know when, but last time I got it, they got some new bread, or maybe they went to the grocery store because they ran out of the other bread. But it was the worst fucking original chicken sandwich ever. But I'm still ride or die for that goddamn original chicken sandwich. I used to, back when I was in 5th grade, and the start of football, that's when it started in my school. And we played in this league. We go play these football games, and afterwards, if my mom came to the game and I was riding back with her, if not, I'd, be on a bus. But I think she came to most of my games, especially that age. And we ride by and we'd stop at a Burger King on the way, and I'm like, give me one of them original chicken sandwiches. And I'd eat that oblong fucking sandwich. Just one giant chicken nugget. It's all it is. And it's pretty good. My wife thought I was crazy, and then I forced her to eat one day, and she admitted it's delicious. So I'm going to convert the world back to Burger King chicken sandwich. Shout out. I'd love a sponsorship. If you're listening, BK. I was a BK Kids kid. I remember those. I remember their Happy Meals. I don't remember what they call them. I also have this vague memory of Taco Bell's kid menu and them having cat dog toys. And I'm like, I don't know how I think of this, or like why that's my memory. They also had these awesome fucking crazy straws that had eyeballs in them, like round crazy straw things, you drink out of, and then they like little weird eyeballs you put in the middle. And I try to collect all of them. I think we had 3 of the 4 or whatever. Very proud of that as a child. Some of us were just blessed like that. All right, let's see. Oh, other big news: Paramount is getting Warner Brothers. Originally, it was thought that Netflix was, but Netflix pulled out of the deal out of nowhere. I don't know if out of nowhere is the right word, but maybe they didn't want to deal with all the trying to get it passed through the government, to approve the sale or whatever. But anyway, Paramount is now going to be getting Warner Brothers, which is HBO, and all that sort of shit. I personally do think Paramount getting it makes more sense. I've said before, I don't. It's something I don't care politically about the guy who owns Paramount stuff. It's just like I'm not thinking about that when I'm thinking. I'm like, as a consumer of these products, if HBO and Paramount merge into one thing, or HBO, I think that would be awesome. That makes sense to me. All of those things under one app that I could log into would be very cool. Now, both apps aren't great. I think HBO's app's slightly better, like the way it works, but not much. Both of them are pretty bad at you go to start a show and they'll show you like the last 5 minutes of the last episode. And you're like, no, motherfucker, I was on, it just doesn't necessarily remember. I hear a lot of people loving Netflix's home screen and UI and all that. But to me, there's so many repeated things that I get kind of annoyed pretty quickly. I'm like, just show me all the shit. Why are we re-showing me this thing for the 8th time, So anyway, I think all of the streaming sites kind of suck in that way. But anyway, HBO, word is they want to keep HBO working like HBO, but everything else is going to get pulled over into Paramount and be one app for online. When I say HBO, I mean the TV channel. And who knows? We'll see. I mean, HBO has made the best prestige TV for the history of television, but could be the end. It's not enough to keep up. The fucking thing's been sold 3 or 4 times in the last 15, 20 years. So it is odd, for something so good to get sold so many times. We'll keep an eye on that one. As far as music stuff, we'll fucking call it good after this. I did upload the song that I played for Soko, and he called in the 2 different people MoFi mix is what I originally called it. And I went to go upload that song to be out on the 20th, I believe it'll be, of this month. So if you liked it, get ready for that. Be excited. And I went to upload it, and it told me, basically I couldn't. It got flagged for something of. It was like it could be multiple things. It might be like because of a sample. It might be because of all this different shit. And I was like, that's great. And I was wondering if it was like catching my old song, fucking an own or whatever. But I noticed in one of the wording something about remixes. So I just took out the MoFi mix and put 2026, and then it accepted it. So there you go, music makers out there. You can't use the word mix anymore in a title, or it will set off the flags, I think, to where you can't release a song. So it's bullshit, but now I know. So be on the lookout for 2 different people, 2026. I don't think I'm going to put it on my next album. I do like it, and it could fit as like a sort of bonus outro. The only reason I'm not doing it is my outro. I have the whole thing is like, I think it's called I'll Be Back. We're like, I'll be back. And so like for another song to come on after that would be fucking stupid, So it's like, fuck it. It'll just exist as a single and people can find it if they want. Maybe on Bandcamp, I'll include it as a bonus if you bought the album. Something fun like that. But anyway, we're basically done with it. I'm doing just lots of car tests. I'm driving myself crazy. It's the worst part of the music process, I think. I think a lot of people would say the writing, the lyrics, and creating the songs is like the hardest part. But that's at least fun, The fucking mixing, there's just like hardly anything fun. I know people are like, no, if you were good, you could be creative. But I'm not good. I'm just like trying my best to make it all kind of sound like it goes together. And then really what gets the most frustrating is you'll be on like your fucking 5th car test, and then all of a sudden like track 8, the hook's fucking 1,000% louder than the. You're like, how did it on the 5th car test? It's this bad, And you start like, God damn, I'm fucking horrible. But I don't know. It just shit happens, and then depends on what volume you listen to. My car, it has the number of volume stuff, so like I'll listen to it the whole time at 30. And then I'll go back and listen to it up at a 40. And I'm like, my whole notes are different. So it's like, what one do you trust? What number are we going with here? So at some point, you just have to like kind of give up. I've also been car testing Soko CD, which is also frustrating in its own way. And I don't, not that my expectations are lower, but I know Soko in his recording environment, some of the takes are just harder to mix to sound good, but there's certain ones I have sounding really good. And so then you hear one that doesn't sound as good. You're like, how can I get that one as good as this one? But really you should just take the wins on the ones we got sounding good. But I've definitely done way more mixes of Soko's album than I plan to. And then no pressure, but we're all just waiting on Brad. He's going to do the last verse for each one of those, and then they're done. I'm also trying to secure a song I made last year that a guy never put out to put on the album. Karma is doing some in-between work there to try to see if we can secure that from FP in Norway, who is very good and very talented, but he is retired from music. I'm like, well, hey, I did those 2 verses for that song of yours, and I'll put it out, if you're not. So she's reaching out, and if so, that will be on the album as well. It fits well enough, it's a little pervy, but when have I not had some pervy music on an album? So anyway, music has been all right. I've been listening to a lot of my beats, and really been like, some of these are really great, but I also need to get in. I think once the albums are actually done and I have them submitted, I can get back in the producer mode where I just start getting more mass creative with that. Whereas right now I make maybe 1 beat a week, maybe 2, and I only do that just so I don't feel like a piece of shit because I have a keyboard in front of me. I have moved the keyboard to being right in front of me, rearrange some stuff. It has caused me to knock over my drink 3 or 4 times on my desk since I've done it, but I think I finally figured it out. You just got to keep the tea can't be within wrist or elbow range. And so anyway, I'm trying to get back in the music. No, I'm really trying. I have big plans too. It's just you get different like creative processes, and I got to one where I could just turn some stuff out pretty quick, but I'm just kind of done with that one. Also, all the samples getting caught now for people makes me feel like I need to lean back into making original stuff, or layering over more samples with playing instrument, it kind of doing so. Also, I feel like my drums, I haven't refreshed my sort of go-to drum sounds and things like that as much. So I kind of want to do maybe make a new kit. I haven't made a drum kit in a long time, or even just go through and delete things I don't think I'm going to use anymore. Now that becomes a problem because then someday you pull up an old beat and it's like, where's this sound? You used that. Now I can't find it. And then that becomes a whole thing. So maybe I just need to buy an extra hard drive and back up some stuff just in case. But anyway, these are all super music producer things. And then it's also like, should I even worry about backing up? Like, surely it has to be towards the end here, right? I've been making music for so fucking long and no one cares. How much more can I make? And I do like, as I was finishing up this album here, maybe the last few weeks, I was like, this might be my last sort of like depressive album, like where the sort of theme seems to be depression and there's a lot of depressing songs, and maybe I'm done with that after this. And then I listened to a beat last time. I'm like, well, no, because that beat's so good. I'm going to fucking make some sad shit to that. And so anyway, I guess I still have a desire to make the music if I can, if you can find the right things. But it's just off for fun, I guess. You've given up the dream a long time ago. The dream can't even exist anymore. The CIA's given up on rap music, but we'll see what keeps happening. Basically, Graveyard as I just claim some affiliation with them, and as long as they're going, I'll feel like, well, hey, they keep going, I'll keep going. We're trying to keep Brad going, but his body's giving out on him. And shout out Rocky616. Also, I know he listened to some of these. He hit me up for some beats this week. Sending him a few over. So anyway, we gotta come together. Rappers gotta keep going. I mentioned before we need to get on Discord, but they're fucking it up. So we gotta find a new place, and we need a little community gathering. That's another thing. I used to be friends with artists that would be like, check out this new beat, and you listen to it. And now I'm just like, it's become such a solo, lonely endeavor lately. And maybe just because everyone's busy or whatever, but I don't know. Maybe it's just my life, Skinny's got a second job. He never comes over anymore. He comes over once a week on a Friday for about an hour, which I do appreciate. You got to keep your adult friendships alive while you can. But anyway, we got to get back to the music. What am I on depressing? This is a good episode. We're having fun times. All right, let's see. Next week, I think will be a Skinny episode if I get him over here. Like I said, I know he's busy, but I know he'll try his best to make it. And then maybe I'll finally get through some things I've write down randomly in my phone notes. I mean, I did through some of them today, but I always have so many more plans on an episode of like, oh, I could talk about this to this and this and this. And then oh, what was my one thing? I was like, I should save that one for the end. Man, it was at the beginning of this. 39, 313s. I don't know. I feel like, oh man, I knew I was going to forget. and I know this isn't good podcasting, but I thought it was some good story about maybe being arrested or something cool. Anyway, maybe I'll re-listen and I'll understand. And then next week when Skinny's here, I'll write it down in my notes. You know, who knows? All right, I'm going to play another beat here at the end. Until my album comes out, I have no new music to be showing off. And so TikTok. And anyway, I don't have a name for this beat yet. Before I recorded, I was like, oh shit, I need something. So I made a little beat video and exclusive. Check it out. Thanks for listening to the podcast, and peace.
A2thaMo makes beats. A2thaMo makes beats. A2thaMo makes beats. A2thaMo makes beats. A2thaMo makes beats.